Hello, everyone. Guess what? It is a cup of resilience time. You know who it is. My name is Tamiko Drummond, and I'm known as the brand success coach. Listen, lean in close because you are in for an absolute treat. I have the super amazing Miss Shay, slayed by Shay Cunningham, in the building. Let me tell you something. Woo. We are going to be speaking about the shift to your purpose. When I tell you Shay's story, and that's why I wanted her on a cup of resilience, she has an amazing story of how she pivoted from corporate to starting her own very successful business where she is helping us to slay all day, every day. Welcome, Miss Shay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. That was such a gracious welcome. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, Shay. You have such an amazing story, and I don't think people realize how tough it is to go into or shift into your purpose, right?
Yes.
And it seems like the universe or something will happen in your life to kind of force you to pivot to where you need to be. So just go ahead and talk about that for a moment. And first of all, let the people know exactly who you are, what your business is, and just tell us a little bit about your story, please.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So my name is Shay Cunningham, and I'm also known as Slay by Shay. And I have always had a passion for fashion and style. And I've just really taken that passion and turned it into a purpose to help high performing, highly driven entrepreneurs and executives with showing up as the best version of themselves. And so whether that is in corporate America or whether that is in their own businesses and even in their everyday lives, I help them with, crafting an image that is as good as their brilliance, right? Because a lot of women check all the boxes. They have all the skills, all the education, all the experience. And unfortunately, for a lot of different reasons, they put themselves on the shelf and they pour into other people versus pouring into themselves here and there so that they can show up as the best version and representation of their brilliance. And so that is my mission. My goal and mission is actually to help transform the lives of over 100,000 women with the work that I do. So it's been an amazing ride. And Miko, I'll tell you, this is my second trip on this ride. Some people know this and some people don't, but I started out I would say now it's been about 13 years ago. And I was disenchanted with the corporate America scene. Okay. It was a very catalyst situation that brought me to that disenchantment, that made me realize that I needed to seek deeper inside myself and seek God and the Holy Spirit about what it is that I'm really destined to do here on earth and on this universe. And by doing that, I got really in tune with how to align my gifts and my talents with how I can help other people. And at that time, 13, 14 years ago, social media wasn't what it is today, right? So I knew that I had a gift in style and fashion, and everybody around me was like, "Girl, where you get this from? Where you get that from? Can you dress me? What shop for me? Or here's my money, just go." And at that time, it wasn't really popular for everyday women to have a stylist, and so it was at that point that I was like, well, but there are people who need stylists. There are executives out there who are trying to go up the chain of command in their careers and start businesses, although entrepreneurship wasn't as explosive back then as it is today. But I knew that there was a market. I knew that there was a market. And so I tapped into that market, but in a very slow pace, right? Because social media was not even on the scene, right? Like, I don't even think Facebook was even a thing. Now I'm dating myself, but I don't even know if Facebook. I know LinkedIn wasn't. There's so many things that weren't there. So I was hitting the pavement
Right.
every day, every other day. I was going to women's events, women's conferences. I was implanting myself where people were that I needed to attract and help. And what happened was I left corporate America, and I was just like, the heck with that. Let me align with my gifts and my genius. And it got to the point where, I don't know if you remember, in 2006, 2007, when the economy took that really deep dive. And so people weren't, investing in themselves at that time. And because it was so shocking too at that time, like that was the worst the economy had been since, I don't know, probably since the Great Depression. Like, it was bad, right? And so, anyway, I had to make a decision in that moment, whether I was going to change my lifestyle that I had, built at that point, or whether I was going to rough it out, right? Tough it out and rough it out. And selfishly, like looking back at it, I think selfishly, I went back to corporate America. I decided to continue to do my business, but like on the side, like my side hustle, right? And like, any of your listeners or watchers here and yourself, that the moment you put your passions up on the shelf for longer than a couple of months or so, it gets further and further pushed back to the back of the shelf.
Right? Yes, it does.
Right? Because now you're focused back on, what you've just been hired for. You're making money again. You feeling, all secure, quote unquote.
Yes.
And so you push that thing back. And so that's what happened. I pushed it back for probably about 12 years. And then God just started nudging me in the middle of the night. I know that that's what it was. It was
that
God nudging.
Yes.
Yeah. So it would be 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just could not sleep, like for hours. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I can't sleep right now, and then 20 minutes later I would go to sleep. No, like for hours I would be tossing and turning. And the only thing that would be on my mind is, I need to be helping women. People are out there waiting for me. I need to be energizing this purpose of mine, not so much the passion anymore, but this purpose of mine.
Right.
And so I ran into a friend. Well, I didn't run into her. She's been on social media for about 5 years. She had left corporate America. I met her in corporate, and she was doing amazing. And so, but this time around, Miko, I was like, I don't have a clue how to monetize this thing. I don't know how I'm supposed to support this very grown life that I have. You know what I'm saying? Because now we're talking well into 6 figures, all types of benefits, like a lot of people would have been uber blessed to have the life that I had in corporate before I left. Okay, let's just put it that way. I was supremely blessed. But it was just not fulfilling. And I knew 2 things. One, that I was missing out on precious time that I needed to live out the purpose that God has set for me. And 2, I can never give my children a company unless I build it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I believe in leaving a legacy for my kids. I can't leave them somebody else's company. I can only leave them something that I build myself and build with them. So those were the 2 big drivers that led me to just take the leap of faith. And that was now 2 years ago. And I put in my notice last February, and figured that was right when the pandemic hit.
Right.
And
you haven't skipped a beat, have you, Shay?
And of course, I was shaking in my boots. I'll never forget the night before I turned in my notice. Now, it hadn't hit yet. Okay. So it was February when I turned in my notice, or actually the end of January. So it hadn't hit yet. I had no idea. Neither did my boss. Nobody had any idea what was ahead of us in the upcoming months.
Right.
But when I tell you I had the bubble guts of all bubble guts, it was
I can
so
imagine.
bad. But deep down inside, oh my gosh, deep down inside, I just knew that I knew God had my back. I knew that I was working on working through my purpose and not just my passion, and that He would have my back only if I trust and if I stepped out and gave Him the wheel. And so the rest is history. You know, I turned in my notice, I started grinding. I've been grinding ever since. And now
Right.
I mean, things are falling into place. I mean, you've even seen it, right?
Mhm.
As a producer of one of my events, that I have so much favor. I have all the right people in my sphere of influence that I need in my sphere of
Yes.
influence. And I just continue to attract and magnetize the things that help me keep moving forward. But none of that, I don't think, would happen if I had one toe in and one toe out, right? Like, I
Right.
don't think that God would show up and show out the way that He has if I were on the fence with this thing, you know?
Yeah, and that's how you shift into your purpose, right? Something happens to make that shift, whether it's a reduction in force, but
Mhm.
you always in the back of your mind, and entrepreneurs, or if you're thinking about it and you're watching right now and you've thought about, listen, I need to make that shift. Certainly reach out to me, because guess what? I work with Shay. Shay helps me with my clients that I'm branding and going through business development with. She helps them to look good for that photo shoot. She helps them to show up with confidence and brilliance. Look at this beautiful lady right here.
Look at you, girl.
They keeps us shining, okay? And it's super awesome to have like a community, because
Yes.
you're not just out here by yourself. When you're in business and you connect with the right people,
Mhm.
we have such a great community where, listen, when Shay has business for me, I get that business. When I have business for Shay, that's who I refer to.
Yeah.
So community,
Yes.
it is super awesome. I'm so glad you made that shift, Shay.
Me
What
too.
are you doing now, and how can the people get in touch with you? Get in with Slay by Shay. If you're in corporate and thinking about that pivot, trust me, even if you're thinking about, you said one thing, if they're thinking about leveling up and maybe coming up for a promotion, it all
Yes.
depends on how they actually show up. So
Yes.
even if you that shift into your purpose is becoming an executive,
Mhm.
how do you show up for yourself? Shay can
Yes.
definitely help. So speak on that, Shay.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you brought that up, because what I have found in this business over the past 2 years that I've been like completely entrenched in it, what I find is that the clients that are ideal and that tend to gravitate towards me and work with me and are ready, because there's a difference between wanting to do something and being ready to do something.
Right.
When they're ready to do it, it's typically 9 times out of 10 when they are having some form of transition in their life.
Mhm.
So whether it is a promotion, trying to get promoted, weight loss, weight gain, divorce, getting married, those life changes, those life transitions are the things that make us women look at ourselves and look in the mirror and be really honest with ourselves about how well we're showing up. And when there's a deficit or when there's something negative there, that's when they're like, hey, okay, I need help. And it's a non negotiable at this point because of whatever the transition is that they're going through. And so, yes, I work with, in fact, um, I just started working with a young lady who was promoted into an executive position. And she was like, I have to bump up my executive presence
Right.
because I have a team of people now that are reporting to me. They're checking for me, and I want to show up in a whole elevated way. And I'm like, girl, yes, you have to do that, because that is going to gain you a lot of credibility. It's going to gain you followership. Because here's the thing. A lot of people think that how you dress and how you look is a superficial thing. Like, it doesn't really matter, or if you're into that, go ahead and do that. No,
Right.
everybody's into it. Okay. Some of us don't want to admit it because we don't maybe want to put the effort and the energy into it. But the truth of the matter is that we all judge people within 5 to 7 seconds of coming into contact with them. Period,
Yes,
point blank. The studies have been done. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So the question is, what are you saying in those 5 to 7 seconds? Because many times you haven't even uttered a word. Okay.
Exactly.
And within those 5 to 7 seconds, people are determining, can this person be trusted with money? Are they are they trustworthy? Are they clean? Are they somebody that I can take out with me? You know what I'm saying? So even when you think about in corporate America, like nobody wants to hire somebody that they can't, take to the company luncheon or the, the board meeting, you know what I'm saying? Without being like, oh, how you showing up today? Nobody wants that.
and it's unspoken, right? So yes. I speak in corporations about your intra-brand, your personal brand within the organization. And surprisingly enough, a lot of people don't realize how they're being perceived.
Yes.
So by your coworker, by your manager. So when the executives are in a room, are you even being talked about?
Yes.
Is your name coming up for a promotion? Like, listen, they bring that executive presence, not only with their work, but how they present themselves to everyone. Like, do they believe that can they visualize you in this role?
Yes, that's it, right? That's it. And so even if you want to take it to a very granular level or very rudimentary level, think about like your mama. When you was growing up, did your mama take you to see family when you was looking crazy? No, your mama's like, wait a minute.
Right. Let's clean you up a bit. Put on the good shirt, right?
So, employers want to make sure that they can take you out. You know what I'm saying? Like they can put you in front of other people and you do them proudly, right? And so it's a real thing. And if you think it's not real, look at the people who are shooting up the ladder and the people that aren't. I mean, it's very noticeable. The other thing I would say is, and you've heard me talk about this, is there is a certain it factor that I call the unfair advantage. Okay. And so people, I think when you think about an unfair advantage, it's like, oh, that's not fair. Oh no, I don't want to have any part of an unfair advantage. Yeah, you do. So here's the deal. We all have an unfair advantage. And what it is the uniqueness about us. Nobody can do you like you. And so the question is, how high of a level are you going to vibrate at you? And if you are vibrating at the highest level of you, nobody can stop you because you cannot be duplicated. And that in itself is the essence of your unfair advantage. And so if you can get really crystal clear on what that is and blow that thing out, there is no opportunity, no person, no thing that would not be attracted and magnetized towards you because you've put out that energy. So I know I'm getting deep, but I love to share.
You have to get deep.
Yeah. I love to share with people that, it's not as superficial as you may think. And it's not just about the clothes. So I'll tell you, Miko, like yesterday, I was talking to a prospective client, which she is now a client, and she's getting ready for her photo shoot. And I showed her some pictures of my brand photos. And I said to her just very casually, your photo shoot is not supposed to be about the clothes you wear. It's supposed to be about the essence of you showing through on the photos. And so I say it's great for you to have a presence, like your clothes are supposed to complement your energy, your essence, and so forth. But when I look at your brand photos, I should see you oozing off of the page, not your clothes, right? And so I showed her some samples of my pictures. She was like blown away. She was like, oh my gosh. She was like, you're sharp, but I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at the clothes. I'm not like, oh, look at those pants you got on, or oh, those earrings. but they're a great rapper, but I'm looking at you, I'm drawn into you. And that's the secret sauce right there.
Of course, and that you bring up such a great point, because when I meet with my clients and we do a photo shoot, I've seen other branding experts, marketing experts, and I'll look at the photos of their client and I would say, why would you have this person have on this baggy clothes that doesn't fit them? So now all my focus is on how that clothing does not fit that person. So
Yeah.
you're right. I'm now the focus is off. I'm not thinking about the person. I'm not thinking how this is
Yeah.
holistically is a great shoot. Now it's almost like shaking someone's hand. Their hand is weak. A weak handshake. All your
Yes.
focus. You don't.
Oh, I can't stand that.
Yeah, you don't care what they just said. You don't remember what they just said. All you're thinking
No.
about is how weak the handshake is. It's the same with photography. So if you've got a branding shoot and the clothes isn't right, and the person it doesn't have the confidence oozing across where you see them, and you just say, "Oh my God, this is so great." Which, by the way, Shay, your photos, my goodness. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. We're hitting it all day. But of course, we are here with Slay by Shay, Miss Shay Cunningham in the building. Shay, just let the people know how they can get in touch with you.
Yes.
Right now.
All right. Sorry about that. I did digress. I am mostly on Facebook. That's where my chick is, but I will give you that, and I'll give you Instagram as well. Everywhere I am Slay by Shay. I tried to make it as easy as possible. Right. So on IG, or Instagram, I am Slay by Shay. On LinkedIn, I'm Shay Cunningham. On Facebook, you can catch me in 3 spots. Influencers That Slay is my community. It's a free community of like-minded women, like what I talked about at the beginning, the type of chick that I deal with on a regular basis. It's called Influence Hers, HERS, all together, That Slay. That's the name of the group. And of course, Shay Cunningham, my business page, you'll find me there as Slay by Shay. And then my personal profile, Shay Cunningham. So I do a lot of communication with folks through Messenger. I don't mind you sliding in my DM as long as you're respectful.
She's married, y'all. She's married.
Yes, he put a ring on it over 20 years ago.
Woo! Now, Shay, I know you said her. So what if there's a man out there that just thinks that, maybe my game is not up to par?
Yeah.
Do you slay men?
I don't yet. But my son is being groomed. He's only 6, turning 26. But
right.
But no, I just feel like right now in my business, I just need to focus on what I know well. And that is, my ideal client is like I was and like I am. It's a female executive and entrepreneur. I know enough to be dangerous, of course, for styling men. I can style my husband and my son and all that good stuff. But I don't know. Like, I think that will be something that I venture into later. But right now, I'm just focused on the ladies.
All right, listen, you all have been seeing Miss Shay Cunningham on A Cup of Resilience. We were talking about the shift to your purpose, sponsored by the candletherapycompany.com. Listen, they have some awesome candles, soy-based candles. Go ahead to candletherapy.com. Put in the code SUCCESS21 and save 20% off. Shay Cunningham, thank you so much. Again, my name is Tamiko Drummond, the brand success coach. Once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.